Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
This episode is brought to you by Huggies Little Movers. It's fun having a baby that loves to move, but it can be challenging to find a diaper that can keep up with them. Huggies Little Movers is designed to move with your baby. With either the double grip strips or the new HugFit 360-degree waistband, you can be confident relying on Huggies Little Movers for your active little ones. Huggies Little Movers, made with double grip strips or the new HugFit 360-degree waistband, so your little double can keep moving like you. Huggies, we got you, baby.
Have you ever had to put your plans on hold due to symptoms of generalized myasthenia gravis, or GMG? Like taking that weekend trip, talking with friends, or enjoying a meal. Learn about a treatment option that may help. Visit treatgmg.com to learn more. That's treatgmg.com.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
This episode is brought to you by Huggies Little Movers. It's fun having a baby that loves to move, but it can be challenging to find a diaper that can keep up with them. Huggies Little Movers is designed to move with your baby. With either the double grip strips or the new HugFit 360-degree waistband, you can be confident relying on Huggies Little Movers for your active little ones. Huggies Little Movers, made with double grip strips or the new HugFit 360-degree waistband, so your little double can keep moving like you. Huggies, we got you, baby.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Whispering Woods Reddit and listener story episode. I've got 2 spooky Reddit stories to share today. I'll get straight into them. Are you ready for the first story? Can anyone help me understand what I experienced? Is it possible I experienced some form of time stop? Around 20 years ago, something interesting happened to me. I was in a supermarket with my wife, and while we were browsing the shelves, at one point I realised that apart from my wife, who was talking to me, everything seemed to have gone quiet. At first, I didn't acknowledge it that much, but as I continued to be quiet and only my wife was talking to me, I then lifted my head from the shelf that I was looking at and looked around, and that was when I realised that apart from myself and my wife, nobody was moving. It took me a few seconds to process what I was seeing as I looked around. There were people at the checkout frozen in the process of scanning items. People frozen mid-step, literally frozen in the process of moving their foot forward in a way where it would be incredibly difficult to maintain balance for a long time, as they seem to be in the process of shifting their balance from one foot to another. Realising that the people in front of me were not moving, I then looked all around, hoping to see someone move. But I only saw the same thing anywhere I looked. This took me a few seconds to process, as I had no idea what was going on. After processing what I was seeing, I first thought this was one of those hidden camera pranks or social experiments with a hidden camera that I kept seeing on the internet. With that in mind, I then walked around the shelf and between the aisles and looked at everyone to try and catch them out, with even the slightest movement to confirm my suspicion. But anyone I tried to catch out remained incredibly still. I then wandered between the shelves and very alertly looked around to try and see where the cameras might be hiding. This was a supermarket that I had been in numerous times before, and nothing seemed out of place. There were no new mysterious shelves, and no changes to the day before and the days before that to indicate that a camera could be hidden. During this entire time, apart from myself and my wife who was talking to me, there was no sound and not a single movement. It's difficult to describe how quiet it was, as we are always surrounded by sound from our environment. There wasn't even any reverb from the sound of my wife's voice as she was talking to me. I then walked around the shelf and aisle next to my wife and nudged her a few times, as I called her name a few times and asked her to stop what she was doing and look around. At first, she didn't respond, probably thinking that I was joking, as I often do. I insisted, and then when she looked up from the shelf at me, I told her to look around. I didn't tell her what I was seeing, as at this point, I wasn't sure of what I was seeing. She then asked me what she was supposed to be looking for, and I replied by asking her if she could see any movement whatsoever, or hear any sound. This is when she realised the exact same thing as I had done minutes earlier, that everything stopped. Even the fridges not too far from us weren't making a sound. We both looked around, baffled at what was going on. At this point, a good part of me was still thinking that this was some part of a well-elaborated joke with hidden cameras, so I was still paying attention to see if I could spot it. My wife then asked me if I knew what was going on and why was nothing moving. I replied by saying that I didn't know, and at this point we were both looking at one of the cashiers who was leaning forward at the checkout to pick up an item to scan for a customer. We were looking at her because her body position wasn't one that could be maintained for that long without falling face forward. Suddenly everything resumed, and the cashier picked up the item, then scanned it, and everyone else started moving as if they had no idea what just happened. At the same time, when everything started moving, the sound from everything came back, and it almost felt deafening compared to the quiet before. That was when I realised that even the fridges weren't making a sound before, as up to then I didn't even consider it. There were people talking, footsteps, the beeps of scanners as items were being scanned at the checkout, and I could even hear the air conditioning system, which I don't normally notice. We stood there for a few minutes quietly, trying to process what had just happened. And in that time, a part of me was still hoping to see some camera, or someone come to say that it was just a joke, although I couldn't explain the extreme quiet before everything started back up, with sound included. After a while, realising that we couldn't explain what had happened, me and my wife got the rest of the items and we continued with our day. Although we continued thinking back to what had happened and kept trying to find an answer without any success. I'm posting this here because I would like to ask if anyone knows what it is that we experienced, if it has a name, or if anyone has had a similar experience. Even now, after 20 years, I still have no idea what it was that happened and what I experienced. I've tried looking for something similar so that I can read about it and compare it to what we experienced, out of a desire to learn about it. So any pointers, advice and help would be greatly appreciated. I'd really freak out if I was ever in this situation, because I'm one of those people who will get claustrophobia is the best way to describe it. And if I thought that I was kind of stuck in a different timeline or stuck in between worlds or something like that, it would really, really freak me out. So I think that these people handled it really well, because I would be a screaming lunatic running around saying, "Get me out of here." And bad enough if I'm locked in the bathroom. That happened to me in work once and it was terrifying. I've got to make sure that I swallow that panic down, and I just think I'd be the same in this kind of situation. Are you ready for the second story? My experience living in a haunted flat, Northern Ireland. This is a true story based on my own experience. It may start off slow. I wanted to tell it how the events unfolded. Back when I was in my early 20s, I was desperate to move in with my then girlfriend. We didn't have much money, so finding a place was difficult that was within our budget. Every day I opened up the Property Pal website, a local buying/letting site here in Ireland, and filtered price low to high. I was shocked when I saw a 2-bedroom apartment for rent for $450 per month. I quickly called my girlfriend, showed her the advert, and we arranged to view it with the letting agent. It was a strange layout. The front door was directly on the pavement. When you walked in through the front door, you were met with a set of stairs. These stairs led you to the first floor, where there were 2 double bedrooms and a bathroom. You then went up a second flight of stairs, where the living room and kitchen was, an upside-down apartment. For us, it was pretty flashy, newly decorated and close to town. Within a week, we were accepted for it and moved in. That's when things started to take a turn. I was obsessed with vinyl records back then. I had 12 of my favourite ones framed and nailed them firmly into the living room wall. One evening, my girlfriend and I were sitting watching TV in the living room, when the next minute, one of my vinyls aggressively fell from the wall. We both jumped and I ran over to check it out. I assumed maybe the nail had slipped, but when I checked it over, the nail was still firmly attached to the wall, as well as the metal holder on the back of the vinyl frame. I recall scratching my head, wondering how it happened, but we both shrugged it off. Maybe I just hadn't hung it right. The exact same evening, as we settled down again to watch TV, we suddenly heard the kettle begin to boil. We both looked at each other, as if to say, what the heck? Neither of us had boiled the kettle. I walked into the kitchen to check it out, and lo and behold, the kettle was boiling by itself. I clicked it off and went back into the living room. My girlfriend said, maybe the electrics are just dodgy. And so once again, we shrugged it off. Little did we know, that was only the start of it. The next day was Friday, and so we decided to have our friend over in the evening to show her the new place. Our friend, I'll call her Becky, was staying in the guest bedroom. As we said goodnight to her, and headed into our own bedroom. Around 15 minutes later, she sends a text message to my mobile. "Why are you pacing back and forth in the bathroom? Are you okay?" For context, from the guest bedroom, if you looked out the window, you'd be able to see the translucent bathroom window. I wrote back, "Huh? What are you on about? We're both in bed." A few seconds pass and Becky comes racing into our bedroom, saying there's someone walking back and forth in the bathroom. Now, I'm a girl, my partner was a girl, and Becky was clearly a girl. The three of us in our early 20s started whispering to each other what to do. I know what you're thinking. Call the police. Someone is clearly broken in. But instead, they tell me to go kick the bathroom door open with my foot. We turn the bedroom light on, the hallway light on, and I run and swing open the bathroom door. No one. Silence. We check the front door. Locked. We check every inch of the flat. No one. The three of us head back into our bedroom, and Becky says she's sleeping on our floor tonight. She swears someone was in there. I don't disbelieve her, but I'm also a skeptical person. Maybe it was a shadow from outside. Basically, I tried to reassure myself and them that there would be a perfectly explainable, rational explanation. On the Sunday, my girlfriend is heading home to see her parents. I don't mind, as I'm working a shift anyway. I worked in a cinema. It's a bright sunny day, and as I'm sitting by the mirror in our bedroom getting ready, I start to hear what sounds like someone gurgling water at the back of their throat. I pause and perk my hearing up in an attempt to figure out where it's coming from. I open the bedroom door and follow the gurgling. It's coming from the guest bedroom. As I open the guest bedroom door, I'm thinking to myself, I'm confused. It sounds like someone gurgling or a drain slowly backing water up. I walk into the room, and the very next minute, it's ice cold. I freeze up, standing still. Right beside my ear, I hear gurgling, as if someone is slowly and gently gurgling liquid in their throat. I ran out of the room and called my girlfriend, trying to explain what had happened. She told me to just leave, get out of the flat, head into town / work early, and we could talk about it later when she was home. I left the flat almost in tears, adrenaline pumping through my body, just trying to understand. That evening, my girlfriend got home and we were in bed talking about all the weird events that had happened in the short time we'd moved in. In a bid to try and lighten the mood, my girlfriend decides to name the ghost. She turns to me and says, "I think it's a ghost. She's an angry woman and her name is Rachel." I told her to stop. I wasn't finding it funny. My girlfriend says, "What's Rachel going to do next? Ruin another vinyl?" At this point, I'm angry because I'm scared. I don't like what's going on. My girlfriend tells me to wise up, and we both turn around and head to sleep. During the night, I waken up. I lay there with my eyes opened, just thinking over everything. My eyes move around our bedroom, and they stop to look at my acoustic guitar, which is rested leaning back in its guitar stand. I begin to drift off again when a few minutes go by, and both of us are suddenly awoken by my guitar, falling across to the other side of the room. We both jump out of bed, switch the light on, and I pick up my guitar to check for scratches. I know, first thought, and it's that. It's then I realise it wouldn't have been possible for my guitar to have fallen from its stand, where it was strapped in at the neck of the guitar. I started to cry and tell my girlfriend, "That's it, I'm not staying here." She asks where are we supposed to go in the middle of the night without looking stroke sounding crazy. I make up a silly excuse to call my parents and tell them I'm not feeling well and can we come stay with them. For reference, I'm type 1 diabetic, so my parents are used to me being unwell and wanting to stay with them from time to time. We call a taxi and leave for my parents. To this day, they've no idea why we really left. The last event to happen in that flat before we both quit our lease 11 months early was this. We had to go back to the flat. All of our belongings were there. We tried to get on with things and just ignore any strange happenings. In fairness, all was seemingly quiet for the next few days. I can't recall anything happening. That was until our last evening in the flat. We were both in bed on our mobiles, just browsing social media. Nothing exciting. As we were browsing and showing each other silly memes, we suddenly heard what sounded like glass bottles being shook, straight rattled in a bag, coming from the bathroom. Imagine a black bag filled with glass beer bottles and someone shaking it. It's the only way I can describe the noise. We both look at each other and frown, as if to say, what the heck is that? I get out of bed and we both switch on the lights as I walk up to the bathroom, which is slightly ajar. The noise is 100% coming from in there, and it's so loud it's hurting my ears as it sounds like bottles of glass are about to shatter. I kick the door open and it falls silent. So silent, I could hear my girlfriend breathing. You think you know what you'd do in that situation of utter shock, but in the moment, you've really no clue what you do. I pick out my mobile from my pocket, call Becky, and ask if we can come stay with her. Thankfully, she's awake and says of course. We pack an overnight bag and head for hers. The next day, we call the letting agent and say things aren't working out and unfortunately we're going to have to end our lease. The letting agent is really annoyed and told us there would be a fine to pay for ending it early. I didn't care. That was the least of my worries. Months go by and we finally get a new place. I decided to do some research on the street and not much came up until I saw one article. It was about the Belfast Blitz during the war, and the exact street and location of the flat was mentioned. The article had an interview of a man who lived in the street during the Blitz and owned a bar. Within it, he mentioned trying to save the bar, however, the bombs would cause great damage. I wondered, were the noises we heard, glass clinking, linked? To this day, I've no idea. The flat was put up for sale a few years ago, and even looking at the pictures of it made me feel sick and uncomfortable.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Dogs deserve the best, and that means fresh, healthy food. Unlike other brands, Ollie offers 5 flavors that are as nutritious as they are delicious, all made in U.S. kitchens without harmful fillers or preservatives. Head to ollie.com, tell them all about your dog, and use code HAPPYPUP to get 60% off your welcome kit with a bonus. You'll get a storage container for a mess-free experience, and it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee if your dog doesn't lick the bowl clean.
What was the gurgling? What was that all about? Like, I get the pub, so the clinking glasses. But I do wonder if it was like somebody's morning routine or evening routine in the bathroom, that they would gurgle, brush teeth, gurgle. Something like that. Because otherwise, what was it? Some kind of creature? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm glad they got out of there, even if they did have to pay a fine for the rent and stuff. Spooky. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you again with Toby tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Hi, this is Kim and Penn Holderness from the Laugh Lines podcast. Boost Mobile offers the same nationwide coverage, network speed, and service consumers are used to, but at more affordable prices. Why pay more if you don't have to?
Boost Mobile offering reliable nationwide coverage backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Love your service or get your money back, no questions asked.
While other carriers blow millions on Super Bowl ads, we put that money to work for you, delivering reliable 99% nationwide coverage at affordable prices.
Start saving on wireless today with Boost Mobile's unlimited plans starting at just $25 a month.
The Boost Mobile network, together with their roaming partners, cover 99% of the U.S. population. 5G speeds not available in all areas.
Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store or find us online at boostmobile.com.
Customers who cancel within 30 days of activation will have Boost service fees refunded. Activation fees, if applicable, and phone payments will not be refunded.
You'll get more than you expect with McValue at McDonald's. So when you've spent too much on a night out, get deals on the after party. When you've got date night, get deals on favorites that'll make you their favorite. And when you've got family for the weekend, we've got breakfast.
Buy one, add one for $1. Now with Sausage McGriddles and other breakfast favorites. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with combo meal. Valid for item of equal or lesser value. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.